We are live. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the morning show. We got a lot going on today. We got yesterday was a very big day. We'll talk about that. We of course have charts, we have earnings, we have filings. That's always fun. Our guest today is Douglas Busch from Chart Smarter. He'll be on, I don't know, 20, 25 minutes, somewhere around there. And then we'll have it's Wednesday, right? So who do we have? We have Mary on Wednesday. Duh, obviously, mornings with Mary. So that's the plan. You know what to do. Hit that like button for me, please, if you'd be so kind. And let's bring the guys on. Let's go. Come on.
Guys break something while I was away in the city? You guys, what happened? I leave for 2 seconds. Market rips. Is that what?
You should go away more. You should go to New York City more.
I brought my daughter a snow globe, like one of those like globes.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
It's a pink one, and it's got like different buildings and Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
She comes down this morning. She's like, Daddy, what did you bring me? I'm like, nice to see you too.
Did she like it?
Loved it, actually. It was a good. I was gonna bring the boys like a bat with a ball, but they would have beat the hell out of each other with it, so I didn't do
that. So I believe that they lit the tree. Was that last night?
What?
No.
I just saw it on Instagram. Was it an old video?
No, fake news.
When do they light the tree? I thought you were there for the tree lighting. I thought that would have been cool. It's after Thanksgiving, right?
Surely it must be.
I actually walked by the tree yesterday, and it's still got the scaffolding and stuff like that. They're still like putting in ornaments or whatever they're doing.
Yeah. So good job. Liz Clayman loves your energy.
Liz Clayman is awesome. I don't know if you know this, but I was partying with Liz Clayman like 10, 12 years ago, like 10 years ago. And my wife's roommate kept busting my chops. Like, is she your girlfriend? You guys hang out a lot. Like, it's like one of those things. I'm like, mind your business, right? So then we were partying with Liz Clayman, and Morgan comes to the bar. It was in the Upper East Side. They were celebrating something internally that they had done. So whatever. So Liz invites me. So I bring Morgan. I was like, oh, Liz, this is my girlfriend, Morgan. So Morgan was like, oh, girlfriend. So that's the history there. So Morgan and Liz Clayman are besties. How about that?
How about that
story, bro?
Liz Clayman is awesome. She's cool.
Yeah, seems that way. Who do you like more, Liz or Charles Payne? You have to pick one.
I just know Liz a lot longer. I met Charles like back in the day, and I've been on TV with him a few times, but like I've hung out with Liz I'm much definitely closer with Liz for longer. Nothing against Charles, good egg. I just tied it with Liz. It's all good.
All right. Yesterday was wild, JC. I don't know if you saw or not. Should we talk about it?
Well, what else would we talk about? Isn't that what we talk about? Like the market?
I don't know. We talk about Christmas trees. We talk about how the fact that every year Christmas music on the radio gets earlier and earlier and earlier, and
who listens to the radio?
Well, I do like once a week. I don't know. Fine. Okay. Whatever.
Dude, you should have seen the Salvation Army guys in the city dancing. Dude, these guys are wilding out. Like bull market in the Salvation Army.
All right. Bull market in stocks too. Let's go.
So, I'm more interested. I'm super happy that we have our analyst meeting today because there's definitely some interesting data that I want to take a look at, especially based on yesterday. I think that we can start with technology. I guess I'm not sure what people's problem is about technology and how, quote unquote, it's too big and they represent too much of the market. Like, I don't understand that at all. I'm more interested in the fact that technology stocks historically do really well in bull markets. And this cycle's no different, right? Like, I'm more interested in that. No? Like, this is technology stocks doing well, breaking out to new all-time highs. is perfectly consistent with a bull market. So we've been in a bull market, and technology stocks are doing great. So I really don't understand what anybody's so like surprised about. Seems really normal. Also, why don't we show why don't you scroll down to slide 8 on this one. Again, I guess I'm just not sure what it is that people are so confused about or surprised about. Like, we're seeing rotation into small cap stocks at exactly the time that historically we see rotation into small cap stocks. Stocks are doing great in an environment that historically stocks do great in. Sector rotation, breadth expansion. Like, I mean, all of this is like really standard stuff. What do you think people are missing, Strazza?
Why don't we talk about the breakaway gaps? Save my chart. This is not for you. Go back to these breakaway gaps. We talked about them a little bit yesterday.
What is a breakaway gap?
Typically, it's a gap that occurs at a key level of interest, right? So you should get the price breakout simultaneously with the gap.
Do breakaway gaps normally come at the beginning of trends or at the end?
Actually, the beginning. So we got a good question yesterday about them. Someone said, how do you know it's not an exhaustion gap? I thought about it a little bit. I think it's easier to potentially confuse a runaway gap for an exhaustion gap, right? And it turns into an exhaustion gap, right? So
in order to be exhausted, you have to have done something first. These things haven't done anything in 2 years.
So exactly. You have to consider the context.
Like, I'm going on a run later. I'm kind of exhausted just thinking about it, but like I'm not actually exhausted yet, right?
The breakaway gap is happening in the context of all these other signals of initiation, right? Whether it's a momentum thrust or a breadth thrust or any of the other thrusts that Twitter is talking about all day, every day out here for the last 3 weeks. Initiation.
Very thrusty. Right? Very thrusty. Right.
So if it was at the end of a trend and this was July and we got some gap like that, you might say, oh, okay, maybe there could be some exhaustion there, right? But we're coming off 4 months of sideways since the entire summer. Now finally just getting some range breakouts. So it definitely feels more like the beginning of a trend than the end of a trend. And I really, really like the ones that are gapping above their prior cycle highs. You see it in semiconductors. You see it in technology. You see it in home builders. Homies and semis, 2 of like the most critically important pro-cyclical indexes that we have. Semiconductors is my Dow, like the most important index in the world. So to see these guys break back out to new all-time highs, really, so bullish. And they're doing so in probably the most bullish fashion, right? Like, this is textbook bullish TA, where we're getting the breakaway gap right at these prior cycle highs, right? Such a clean level there. We got rejected there this summer, absorbed some overhead supply. Now we're back and taking it out with authority, getting overbought. If you look at these relative trends, whether it's the relative trend in tech, semis, homies, any of the groups that we're talking about, supporting this breakout activity. So a lot to like. The bulls keep scoring points here.
Spencer, could you throw up a new slide 2 here, please?
New slide 2. New and improved.
New slide 2.
All right, I got you. Yeah, industrials.
So Strazza's talking about cyclicals, talking about semis, right? How do you not include industrials in that conversation?
Yeah, they got some catching up to do.
Do they? They are 4 or 5% from a new all-time high, number one. This is a very diversified group. When you have these idiots telling you that only 7 stocks are going up, you could tell these idiots that industrials historically have the highest correlation with the S&P 500 among all of the sectors. There is no component in industrials that represents more than 4% of the index. This is obnoxiously diversified, Strazza. And we are very close to new all-time highs.
Would you like me to tell you what the strongest groups are?
Within industrials?
Sure. I could do that.
Is there any machinery in that conversation?
Well, should we take it all the way back, a couple months? And look who's been the leader like over the past 3 months. Why don't we do that?
I like the 3 month. I like anchoring to July. I also like anchoring to May of 21 when the list of New York Stock Exchange new highs list peaked. Remember in May of 21?
Yeah.
That's a good anchor point, particularly for the industries. Let's talk about it in the meeting later.
So
put that on the agenda. Put it on the agenda.
Just using my preset scripts, going back about 3 months here. Not much. I mean, industrial distribution, aerospace. These are all.
What is industrial distribution?
Granger, Fastenal, right? Components, parts, Pool Corp, CNM, Wesco International, Watson Co. or Watsco. I don't know. Aerospace and defense. Huh?
Industrials, man.
So aerospace.
Underrated because they're not sexy. Nobody wants to talk about machines in Cleveland. You know, they want to talk about semis in Taiwan or San Francisco. You know what I'm saying, Spencer? How do you feel about that?
I thought you meant nobody in Cleveland wants to talk about machines. And I'm thinking, yeah, they do. That's like a manufacturing hub.
Right, but
sure
the rest of the world, like, you know, used guys, like, you know, market people, like they just don't, nobody cares about machinery companies in Cleveland, whether they're worth $50-60 billion or not.
So
these
speaking
of monster companies
of talks in San Francisco, a little update on the news that I'm the only one that seems to care about at all, but the Biden and Xi talks, right? So basically, we are selling them what they're calling throttled chips. Imagine that. We're selling them semiconductors, but not the strong ones.
Just the throttled ones.
They got governors on them. Right. So they can't have the best chips. That's the position of power that we find ourselves in. And what she basically said to Biden was, just sell us the good stuff, right? Don't make us compete with you, right? Otherwise, we're going to have to go make our own and potentially make better ones than you someday. So he basically said, sell us the good ones and we won't compete. The problem with that is, I think if Biden were to agree, it wouldn't be the first time that China said one thing and then maybe went home and did the complete opposite thing.
Right.
So, but interesting, really some interesting stuff coming out of that meeting.
Nope. The most interesting thing that I saw out of that meeting was that Janet Yellen was seen at In-N-Out Burger.
I mean, good for
Overrated.
Her. Great move. No, I like it. I just had my first In-N-Out burger in September.
Dude, so overrated. So overrated. It's fine. Okay. Sober, you can't eat it. Like if you've been, you know, I went after a concert once.
Can't eat it?
You can't eat it sober. I went after a concert once and like I didn't have dinner. We were drinking at the concert and it was maybe like the best meal of my life, right? But that was a very unique circumstance. Like if you're just going to go grab lunch at In-N-Out, it's going to be a huge disappointment.
Okay. I don't know.
The fries are unedible.
The fries were not. The fries were not great.
The burger's a soft 5, maybe. You know.
Okay.
The burger's good, man. The burger's good.
6 in a situationally hungry situation, perhaps.
It's better than 5 Guys, and
it's not.
Yeah, it is. It's better than 5 Guys, I think.
Nah, it's not that good. Also on another note, I was with Mr. Dennis yesterday. Braden. I was with him the last 2 days actually. And his girlfriend, very nice, very sweet. They were down from Toronto, and he is really interested in getting all of the technical data in there as well. I told him it's not going to be that hard. It's not going to be that complicated. What we're going to need, you know, I'm thinking, you know, we just start with the internals with him.
Yeah, because
you know, just start doing internal data work.
I want to be able to ask it how many stocks in the S&P 500 got overbought today. Okay, how does that look? You know, going back 5 years, right?
And I told him we'll do a meeting with the whole. I told him I'm going to tell the crew that we're going to have a meeting. So prepare your wish list, all of us. And we'll share notes. There'll probably be a lot of the same things. And then we'll bring it to him.
Ideally, that gets to a place where you could say, okay, export it to a chart. Right?
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, so it was great. We had great conversation. We were at Watchbox yesterday, and both of us know nothing about watches. So we're talking about other stuff.
What's a watch box?
It's like secondary market for fancy Rolexes and stuff like that, and like watches that I've never heard of, but like people who are into watches, like it's a big deal.
What were you doing there? You're not a watch guy.
Lindsay's an investor, so it was like me, the Van Eck guys, what's the water in a can?
Oh, that stuff's so stupid.
Box water. Oh, it's
It
not
looks
a
like
can.
beer. It's one that looks like a beer, but it's
It
not.
looks like a beer, yeah. Liquid Death.
Liquid Death.
Oh,
That guy
Liquid
was
Death.
there.
Liquid Death. Yeah.
Buddy Media guys were there. It's just kind of like investors. I was like the poorest person there. They're like, Lindsay's like, you can't afford anything here. I'm like, thanks.
Yeah, so that's awesome. We'll talk more about it. We'll have Braden on more too, just to kind of pimp out
drop the link, Spencer, to Braden's site. Shout out Braden, great guy. Met his girlfriend, very nice. First time in New York.
Accounting background,
Yeah,
they tend to be great guys.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a good group.
Nerd alert. So we're gonna help him out. So that was great. It was good.
So you had a good time in New York City.
Yeah, for sure. We'll catch up later, but I'm mostly interested with Braden on the breadth stuff, and I'm interested in sort of the breadth and what happened yesterday, right? We've been talking about how thrusty this market has been, whether it's the Zweig thrust, or then you got the Whaley thrust, and then this guy, everybody's got a thrust, right? Which is fine. And as we always say, it's less about whether it was that one that triggered or the other one that triggered, and more like, are thrusts triggering or not? So I'm curious to see yesterday, what the 10-day highs list. I know Grant dropped it in the Slack, but like the 10-day highs list, I'm interested in seeing that, like the short-term new highs list. The weekly closes this week are going to be really interesting.
Oh, they thrusted. I'll grab some, but let's talk about these momentum thrusts first. So go to, where's my Russell chart? 9. Okay. So Russell 2000 just a few weeks ago had back-to-back monster days, right? The gap and gap move. I think it was the second and third best day of the year. They booked their best week, this index, since like February of 2021, 2 weeks ago. Then coming in this week, yesterday, the biggest day, so best single day performance since November 10th of last year. We're going to talk about that in just a second. And then going further back all the way to COVID, right? So second best day since the COVID bottom. This is really initiation-y, right? This is very thrusty, and we're seeing it hit, 1 week and then again 2 weeks later, these massive moves. Now, go to the dollar chart, because November 10th was a special day for multiple reasons. I'm looking through, and it's not just the Russell 2000, right? I can show you the same thing on home builders, other key indexes, best day since, right? And I keep on saying to myself as I'm looking at these charts, put up the dollar one. Best day since November 10th. Best day since November 10th. Then I flip to the dollar chart, and what do you think I say? I look at the rate of change. Worst day since November 10th of last year. No, this is the old dollar chart, the new one.
I have to refresh 1 second.
Okay.
Because you're updating the charts on me. Okay.
Did you see that God candle in the Polish zloty yesterday?
Stop. Just not yet. This is not it.
Which slide do you want? Tell me. Which number? They're all numbered.
6.
Okay.
I want to just describe very clearly.
Okay.
November 10th, the worst day for the dollar since yesterday. So dollar down 1.4% yesterday, stock surge. What else was November 10th? It was October CPI day last year. So this time last year.
Was that the day that I was at Lowe's buying ARC?
I don't know. I don't keep track of when you buy ARC at Lowe's.
But we were on the phone and we were just laughing about what a dad move that was. And I was at Lowe's buying ARC pre-market. Remember?
The bigger point is, by this time, November 10th of last year, if you look at the dollar chart up here, this little, flaggy pennany thing, right? The short-term continuation pattern had already failed. And this was the follow-through of that dollar failure. You see it on the left-hand side of the screen where the first 2 red circles are? So then November 10th is the 3rd red circle. So that was the dollar following through on a failed continuation pattern, and it sparked a massive rally in stocks where stock market indexes were booking their best day in, years. Now, if you look at the dollar today, that move yesterday, was also the downside follow through, right? Or the downside resolution of this little short-term continuation pattern that's, been formed in the dollar since September now. Got that resolution lower, a big move, and stock market indexes have their best day since, well, this same time last year. So I know you say economic data doesn't matter. You don't know what's going on, but it is often the catalyst, for big moves or big decisions from some of these patterns that we're watching out here every day.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, these are, yeah, I guess, these are all situations that have already been sort of working their way into the market since early October, right? So these are just continuations from things we've already seen. Can we throw up the new slide 2, Mr. Spencer Israel? Can you see that?
Do you not think that the dollar just resolved its range yesterday? That's not
Look at the Polish zloty.
I can't do this.
Look at the God candle in the Polish zloty. That was the indicator. The Polish zloty bottomed on October the 3rd. That was the day that the new 52-week lows list peaked. It was the zloty all along, Strazza.
Yeah.
So here we're looking at the Polish zloty on top, and then emerging market currencies index down below. This emerging market currencies index, although it looks exactly like the zloty, is only 7% zloty, right? It's an equally weighted emerging market currencies index of 14 EM currencies. So if you look at the Mexican peso, look at the Chilean peso, the zloty, look at South African rand, emerging market currencies were up all throughout October in an environment that I was told was a stronger dollar environment. With the zloty doing what it was doing, I wasn't buying it, Strazza. It was the zloty all along. No?
Yeah. Sure. I'm done talking about zlotys.
I'm sort of with Rachel.
Things like this is price action we haven't seen a year and only see so often every few years, and Polish zloty. Okay,
I know. I'm with Rachel. How on earth did I miss the move in the zloty? I don't even know how I missed
attention. I've been talking about it for the record. It's not like I just woke up this morning. It's like, oh, did you see the zloty? The God candle that came yesterday came 6 weeks after the zloty bottom.
The zloty bottom.
October the 3rd. The day that the new 52-week lows list peaked on the New York Stock Exchange. Kind of a big deal. You think it's a coincidence?
In 5 years, when they talk about the breakout in this market, they're going to refer to this as the zloty bottom.
I doubt it. I will.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, Jay. Sorry, Steve.
My wife
We're
says
done.
I'm an odd egg. What can I do?
I'm having fun. We're done, Steve.
I tried.
No, I agree with you. I mean, I thought it was a good take.
At least show my chart that I marked up for this point 11.
I got you, man.
Fuck me.
No, it's a good chart.
Yeah. So anyway, yesterday was a big day. Coming off the lower bounds of the range. Russell more than held and defended these lows again. I think now, if you want to trade this thing, you're looking back to those pivot highs, the upper bounds of this range. So still tradable here.
Zloty all along.
Just bring on Doug.
Yeah, bring on Doug. I haven't talked to Doug in a minute. Doug is OG. Doug goes way back. You guys know that?
Yeah.
No.
I tried to explain to Spencer that social media and finance existed before he arrived on the scene. Doug was there before Spencer. Spencer was still working for the MLB network when Doug and I were talking charts.
We saved you, Spencer.
We did.
I'm Doug. You ready? I'm bringing you on.
You're welcome, Spencer. You're welcome.
I can't take
this
anymore.
Bum's lost. Jay, we've been friends for a long time. Make the call.
I mean, this is pretty professional, guys.
Nice show you got going here.
Dougie Fresh in the house.
What's up, JC? What's up, Steve?
Hey, Doug. How you doing?
Doug, I'm taking tennis lessons these days. What do you think about that?
Oh yeah, wow. I mean, I'll be honest. I haven't picked up a racket in so long. You probably beat me these days, JC.
Dude, my backhand is ridiculous, dude. It's
One hand
ridiculous.
or two?
Crazy good.
One hand or two?
Two.
Okay.
Always two.
Okay. All right. All right.
Like it was pretty good to begin with, and now I got this dude like that's been working with me. It's nasty, dude. Nasty. I'm telling you.
I want to see confirmation.
Let's go. Come on down.
I want to see some confirmation.
All right. All right. I'll send you some videos. It looks like I'm moving in slow motion a little bit, but it's good.
That's better. Balance. Slow motion balance.
How's the bull market treating you, my friend?
Pretty good. I mean, wow. I mean, what a day to be on after yesterday. It's hard not to like this market. Sentiment was pretty in the dumps not too long ago. And wow, I mean, what 10, 12 days can do. We know price changes sentiment. Those moves in the 10-year, look, the market was held hostage by that 10-year, what I thought. And look, the technicals, we're always saying that the technicals will give you the signals well before anything else. And, that move down yesterday was hard. But, I mean, look, there was on 1019, there was a shooting star. I'm a big candle guy. I think you are too. I'm a round number guy right at that round 5 number. Then you had some engulfing candles on the 26th of November and the 1st of November. And then you had that gap down that completed the bearish island reversal. And then you see the chart there. You could call that a bear flag breakdown, the head and shoulders breakdown. I think this is going to 4.
So
and if it's going to 4 on the 10-year, and I don't disagree, but if we're going to 4 in the 10-year, bonds are ripping, stocks are ripping in that environment too, correct?
I agree 100%. I really do. I mean, the S&P, I think the S&P could see, well, look, the weekly chart there has that nice cup with handle. I think we could see all-time highs. First, we got to get to 4,600. I know that's still a little higher, but we had that nasty bearish engulfing candle there. I can't remember when. I think it was last July, and then you had 3 inside days in there, and that precipitated this drawdown. But it's come back nicely. I really think there's there's a bit under the market here,
which is perfectly normal for this time of year. Rotation into small caps, perfectly normal this time of year. Why do you think people are so surprised by perfectly normal market behavior?
Yeah, I don't know. I saw your email this morning about the IWM. Look, that 5% move yesterday. I mean, those really aren't normal moves. I mean, I think that was a combo of organic buying, some short covering.
Yeah, that poor positioning, being unwound is really right.
Offsides.
Yep.
People being offsides, and look,
like coming into the year, right? All these perma bears, all angry, increasing their short positions coming into the year. Fundamentally, nothing changed in the first quarter, but these things squeezed because they were improperly positioned. I feel like yesterday is the same thing, something similar, right?
Look, I agree. I mean, even with, I think what people aren't talking about with that Russell as well is, it's really the industrials and the banks make most of that concentration in that index, not tech. So I think that speaks to a broadening of the rally. I don't know how many times we've heard the Magnificent Seven or, whatnot, but
so stupid, these people.
It really is.
Like,
really
just go count. People hate counting.
This participation. I mean, look, I think it's healthy. We're seeing a lot of breakouts now. I mean, look, I'm a breakout guy. I'm an IBD guy. I believe that a mother's milk of a bull market rally. We weren't seeing that for a long time, but I mean, and look at the earning reactions as well. I mean, in software alone, I mean, what you had Datadog. I had a few names down here: Datadog, Palantir, Shop, DUOL, all up 20% or more after on their earning reactions, and they're not only holding those; some of those are still going higher now. So I think that's a good sign as well.
Yep.
Sector rotation is the lifeblood of a bull market, Dougie. That's how I learned it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you 100% there, 100%.
Yeah, that Duolingo looks great, and if this was a rough patch for earnings, even the past couple quarters, supposed to have new record earnings in the S&P 500 next year. Like, things are supposed to be improving with yields coming down. That can only help margins and valuations, you would think. So maybe moving to a better environment too, not a bad thing, right?
Yeah, no, look, I mean, I think we might be a little stretched here. No question. But I'd like to see some some consolidation. I mean, look, that DUL you just talked about. I love that name. Spinning top candle yesterday.
Yep.
We'll see. It's just above. I'm the big round number theory guy. It's just above 200. I'd love to see some digestion there. Let these moving averages catch up to price. But we're seeing some great action. Overall, great action.
I love how you're just throwing out Japanese candles.
Yeah.
Doug, what is your favorite Japanese candle or candlestick formation? It doesn't have to be a solo performance. It could be a group.
Yeah, no, look, I mean, I think we've seen a lot of morning stars recently. I think those are great bottoming patterns. I like the ascending triangles. If you look at, another risk on, if you want to talk about that with the ascending, look at the weekly charts of the JNK, the junk bonds, or HYG taking out some weekly ascending triangles.
Yep.
So I think that's, that speaks to the health of this bull market rally as well.
Refreshing. It's so refreshing speaking with like a classic technician. Like the words coming out of this man's mouth, like just bring joy to my life.
Doug,
and your backhand too.
Talk about the importance of follow through in candlestick analysis. Last week, I believe it was Thursday, heard a lot about these bearish engulfing candles. Then we came in the next day and made new highs. There's absolutely no follow through. How important is follow through to you when you're looking at these candlesticks?
Look, I mean, moves. The follow through is very important. I mean, it's one thing to make a move; it's another thing to really hold on to it and follow through. When I write my notes, a lot of times I'll put add on buy points on the way up.
Yeah.
Very rarely do you see that. People like to buy on the way down, average down. That's for losers. But look, I want to see that move hold, and then I want to see it act well post, whether it's an earnings reaction, whether it's a breakout, whether it's a candle.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, if the markets are ignoring bearish candles, then, I mean, look, the SMH the other day, yesterday broke above the day before was a bearish harami. I mean, a lot of people will tell me, all right, bearish harami, they're on the SMH.
Yep.
Look at the
weekly. You
weekly.
hear this, man, with a bearish harami? I love this. This is making me so happy, Doug. It makes me so happy.
Great.
We love the candles. The candles make us, and I love when you like, oh, the monthly candles are coming up and the weekly candles. I mean, the wife has to pull me away from the computer. I look at these candles too much.
You're a candlestick connoisseur, my friend. I didn't know.
I like it. I mean, if you want to call me, my favorite CMT book was a Steve Neeson book. I was
going to say, sounds like it.
Am I pronouncing it right? Nissan.
Throw up chart 22. This is the book that Doug is talking about.
There you go.
The Bible of candlesticks. So what do we call this one? A Maribozu?
God candle.
That it's not bearish, I heard.
Is that a God candle?
No, I mean that's the 5% move we were told. Look at that's a gap up. I mean, and look at the volume. I mean, the volume was huge.
Yeah. I believe the Japanese call them windows.
There you go. I mean,
we're gonna stay on brand here.
I love it. I'm still trying to get over to Zloty before it came on. I'm trying to learn how to.
Zloty had it right all along. Underrated.
I like it. But yeah, look, we all know small caps have been underperforming. Obviously with interest rates and whatnot. But yeah, you saw that chart there, big break above the bullish inverse head and shoulders. It's coming into a gap fill. It's coming into the 200-day and that former head and shoulders traditional breakdown. Which, by the way, that measured move is almost perfect to 160 from 200, just below the 200. Again, I'm a round number guy on that IWM. So everything technically is looking good there. I think this week's closing prices on a lot of names is going to be real important. I can't wait to see how NVIDIA closes today. I mean, that's an exciting chart. Again, I'm a round number theory guy, not only candlesticks, but that's been trading between 400 and 500. It's right at the top of that range.
That thing's got 750 written all over it.
Yep. Okay. I like that. Is that a measured move from a Fibonacci extension or?
Yeah, that's the next extension up there. Yep. And NVIDIA's really been treating these extensions, really respecting these levels, which, to me reiterates sort of that target. the most bullish thing a stock can do, Doug, is to go up.
That's true.
Bull
Obviously,
markets, you get a lot of stocks that are going up.
We need more of them.
It wasn't
bull
just
market.
7. That whole time, it wasn't just 7. It was a whole bunch of them.
I mean, AMD. I mean, if we're talking about the semis, AMD looks great. A lot of these software security plays. I'm a big fan of CrowdStrike right here. Full disclosure, I'm long there.
Yep.
I like CrowdStrike. I thought again it was gonna, maybe back off the 200 number, but it didn't. We'll see what happens there. Again, these things are getting, a little extended. But yeah,
short term, I agree with that, Doug, for sure. I mean, they're up like 13 days in a row or something stupid. But when you zoom out, these things haven't done anything in 2 years.
No, exactly. I mean, nothing goes up in a straight line. But yeah, I mean, NVIDIA, obviously, that's the biggest, that had a shooting star yesterday right at 500. It's been trading between that 400 and 500. I think that there's that big bearish filled in candlestick. I can't remember when from NVIDIA a few months back, but look, the catalyst next week obviously could be earnings. I mean, we've seen
earnings season again. Didn't we just finish earnings season?
I know. I think it reports next week or something. I guess it likes to stand out, so it reports when it wants to. But yeah, I mean, look, we're having a lot of and I think you're seeing a lot of participation. There's other names I like, nuclear names I like. I mean, I don't know if you looked at the chart of Camco recently.
Yeah.
CCJ, obviously URA. There's one in there I like that's a peripheral play, BWXT.
That's right. Yep.
You guys have been all over that one as well.
How can you not?
Yeah.
Come on. How can you miss that? I mean, fine, you missed the Zloty, but you can't miss on these uranium,
No, yeah. I mean,
the base on BWXT, I mean, is as good looking as any chart you'll find out there.
Because what is it? It's like an industrial, but it's not. It's actually right. It's actually a uranium stock.
Yeah,
it's like nuts and bolts.
Yeah, it looks great.
Nuclear.
That was a double bottom with handle breakout yesterday. I mean, didn't even trade below its 50-day since June. In a market where obviously between now and June there's been some weakness. So that strength is telling.
And there's a theme there to most of these charts that you're naming. I'm punching them up and looking at them as we're talking here, whether it's CrowdStrike or even NVIDIA, Broadcom, Avago, any of the ones that have been ripping. Look at the way they traded through the summer corrective months, right? They were mostly sideways. CrowdStrike was moving higher, right, as the rest of the market's correcting. Now, all of a sudden, it's like that beach ball effect, right? The pressures come off, and all of a sudden, these things are exploding to the upside. But the relative strength was there, just in how resilient they were through the corrective phase that began this summer.
Great point. I've always been taught, look, you want your all-stars in the portfolio, right? You don't want your minor leaguers. You want the names, your hard-earned capital. You want them put where they deserve. And the CrowdStrikes. What else? ANET I like. Arista Networks.
AI play.
Blew above 200. Kind of retested it. Got to about 204.
You see how Doug hangs out in the new 52-week highs list.
Doug,
right?
You're naming all of our favorite stocks. You got to come on more.
Yeah. I mean, please. I mean, it's been a long time coming. What else? We haven't spoke about Uber.
So good.
Uber looks good.
So I'm talking with the Van Eck guys. CEO of Van Eck last night, Jan. Super nice guy. These guys are awesome.
Yeah.
And he's like, "What about Uber? I missed it." I'm like, "What do you mean you missed it? It's flat. Like it hasn't done anything." I'm like, "What do you think the market cap of Uber is?" He's like, 50, 100. I'm like, "What do you think the market cap of Lyft is?" He's like, 10, 15. I'm like, 4. I'm like, "Look at this base. We got the March 160 calls in the Uber. Let's go." Strazza, Strazza's been pounding the table on Uber for a while, and I'm finally, we finally put an options trade on it last week.
Thanks.
It's working, obviously. But I was literally arguing with Jan yesterday, and he was like, "I missed it. It's gone." I'm like, hasn't even broken out yet.
I mean, yeah, look at the weekly. It looks like it's just getting started. And if you put a ratio chart like you're saying, Uber Lyft, I mean, goodness gracious.
Forgot about it. Yeah.
I mean, it's you can see the outperformance for sure there.
So then I asked, because we were just chilling. We were drinking Pinot Noir from Oregon. It was lovely. And I'm like, we're looking at the chart of Uber, particularly on a relative basis. And I'm like, how high do you think it go? He's like, oh, I missed it. I'm like, dude, it hasn't even broken out yet. So I'm like, so is it a transportation stock? Is it a software stock? Is it a consumer discretionary stock? And he's like, I don't know about all that, but it's definitely not a transportation stock. Like, hard no. Do you agree with that,
Take
Strazza?
people where they need to go and deliver things and operate a freight business.
And this is like a good opinion, right? I mean, literally the CEO of Van Eck, like I respect his thoughts, right? Much different perspective than Strazza and I and Doug, of course.
I think it's classified as a software name too. I mean, this is a tech stock, and I mean,
does it use software? Like,
it's huge.
we use software. Are we a software company?
Here's the thing. Software is so pervasive. We talked about this yesterday on Spaces. It is software is so pervasive, or technology is so pervasive. All good companies are using it. Whether you're drilling for oil and gas, trying to find gold in the ground, right? You're leveraging technology to do that. And the good companies are really good at leveraging that technology. Eventually, rather than keep creating new sectors and moving tech stocks out and putting them in new sectors, they're going to just have to yank tech as a sector. And you're going to have to fall into something else. So Apple will go to consumer or discretionary or staples. Microsoft will go to communications.
Apple is never going to be a consumer staple.
Everything's tech. So it'll be discretionary then.
And
maybe discretionary.
I'm looking at the chart here. Look at that. Now that's a bullish Harami cross. So that's the cross doji candle that called the bottom on Uber.
Did you just say bullish Harami cross doji?
Well, when you say cross, it's got to be a doji. I mean, right at the 40 number.
I'm not arguing. I'm just sort of reiterating what just the words just came out of your mouth, which
Another
is fantastic,
thing,
by the way.
Speak a different language, JC.
Another thing you got to love about that Uber chart is it shook to like new multi-month lows. It looked like you were getting like a bearish pattern resolution, and then it just, whipsawed and rocked higher. Hasn't looked back.
Yep.
Stock Market Mike says Uber literally transports people. Right. So does Ford and General Motors. Those are consumer discretionary stocks. Those are not transportation.
The business was built on a cutting-edge GPS system and a software platform, right? So it's both.
Did you just say cutting-edge PPS system?
GPS. That's how Uber became Uber. They had like this sick GPS algorithm that would tell them where to go, and they were like hiding from the police because they weren't supposed to be operating.
You know what's really cool about Uber is that when Uber was first getting going, they were in certain cities that didn't have like roads and maps. So the GPS like sort of archives of these Ubers created the grid system in some of these cities.
Yeah.
Which is really cool thinking about that, right?
Cutting edge tech.
Have you guys looked at talking about the cars or the automobiles, Harley Davidson, Hog? I mean,
what is that the best ticker symbol in the market, Hog?
It really is. I mean,
it's a good one.
Bulls make money, Bears make money, Hogs get slaughtered.
Ooh.
The Hogs. I mean, actually it was, let me take a look. Oh, actually it bounced back a little bit, but yeah.
If this thing gets back above 31, the squeeze is on.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That would negate that bear flag breakdown below 30. But yeah, I mean, so he hasn't participated. I don't like, chasing the names that haven't performed. That I want to add to names that have been performing. But yeah, you're right. I haven't looked at that in a couple of days. But I mean, is that because the rising tide lifts all boats? Is that a well-deserved move? We'll see.
Yes, and rotation.
What about race? I'd rather be in race.
So like
I said, you've been hanging out at the new 52-week highs list.
This is something we talk about a lot, Doug, JC, and I, and the analyst team. Do we buy the strongest ones? Are they the best vehicles, right, for this new leg higher that looks like we're embarking on? Or do we buy the weakest ones, bet on some sort of catch-up trade or mean reversion move? But it sounds like you're saying stick with the leaders. Don't make your life harder than it needs to be.
Yeah, I think, I'm not a big mean reversion guy. I mean, maybe over time it happens. But again, the technicals they'll let you know exactly what's going on well before, if the leaders are breaking down, then you get out of them. And we'll see. But yeah, I'm not a big mean reversion guy. I like strength. I like to keep it simple. Price action. That's my game. Buy strength. Technicals 101. Technical analysis 101.
I mean, seriously, Doug, the words coming out of your mouth today bring so much joy to my life. I'm really disappointed you're not playing tennis. What's up with no tennis? Is the knees, elbow?
No, you know what? it's excuses. Just I make excuses. I don't have the time. I have a little girl now. I get out on the court with her.
Are
But
you in Brooklyn? You still in Brooklyn?
no, we're on the North Fork now, but we still have our place in Astoria. But yeah, I'm trying to get the daughter to play. But trying to teach your own kid, you'll learn that pretty soon. They don't
Oh,
want
I
to
already have. They don't listen.
She's like, I know it all. I'm like, I'm trying to teach her how to hit a forehand. She's probably hit a couple hundred her whole life, and she's like, I know how to do it, Daddy. I'm like, okay. I've been hitting forehands for 40 years, but you're going to tell me forehand. So it's crazy.
We'll get out in the spring. I'll meet
Yes.
you in the city. Yeah, I'll meet you in the city. Play in the city. We'll play over on the east side.
Absolutely. Are you in the city again?
Nope.
I'm in the city when I gotta be. I'm losing my voice because I was in the city a little too much over the last couple of days.
There you go. There you go. But this has been great, guys. I hope to be back on again soon.
For sure, 100%. Go. Happy Diwali, everybody, and may your candlesticks, shine bright in all of your charts for another year.
Sounds good to me, guys. Have a great day.
Thanks a lot, Doug. Man,
Diwali's definitely one of the best festivals. These Indian folks know how to do it.
Doug's making me want to go read up on my Nissan. That was fun.
That was fun. Bullish Harami Cross Doji. He said it all in one breath. I was like, excuse me.
No, I mean, now I know how to talk dirty to JC. You know what I mean? It's like say things like that. You know what I mean?
I'm into it. Totally, 100%.
Yeah,
Takes it back. Takes it way
good.
back. People don't talk to me the way he just did.
All right. Oh man, that was fun. We'll definitely get Doug back on. For those asking in the chat, for sure.
He was a money tennis player in his younger years.
Yeah,
it's money.
All right. What should we do? We had some earnings. We had some filings last night.
Tell me about these earnings or lack thereof. What's going on?
No, there were a lot of earnings. A lot of good earnings.
Yeah, we had some interesting ones here. Let's talk about that now. I guess we'll start with Target. It's probably the big one here. Target's a prime example. This is what happens when you dramatically lower the bar for yourself over the course of several quarters. It is easier to beat expectations when the bar is low. So that's what happened here this morning with Target. So that's why stock is trading up. The beat estimates on, I think, the top and bottom line. Yeah. And the stock is, look at that pop this morning. Remember, this is the company that last quarter complained about the shrinkage. The quarter before that, they dramatically lowered their guidance for the year. So it's been a rough go of it for the past couple quarters for Target. Comp sales down 5% year over year. I think third quarter in a row that's that their year over year sales have declined, which something that we talked about yesterday with Home Depot as well. A lot of the stuff got pulled forward, but Target has other issues as well.
Target has much bigger issues than Home Depot. The market cap here surprises me. I guess that's what happens when your stock just steadily falls for a few years. But 50 billion. Would think it'd be bigger than that. No.
Well, I mean, for a while there, it was like Target and Walmart were like they were the only ones that were going to survive the wrath of Amazon, right? It was just going to be those two companies and no one else. And how
was it not obvious that Home Depot was going to be just fine?
They're a different category. I think a lot of people you have to go to Home Depot or Lowe's. It's hard to buy. It's hard to buy some of that stuff online. I mean, you can do it, but it's just harder. You got to talk to someone. You need to get the right thing. How many people actually buy the correct part their first time around at Home Depot? 50% less, right?
When you're going to Home Depot for a project, you're almost never going just once, right?
Sure,
you're going and then you're going back and then you're going back again. What I'm not a fan of, especially for a retailer, right? These companies, there's a reason why price charts trend. Earmuffs, JC. Price charts trend because fundamentals trend. In other words, when you have a quality company or a solid company and they're doing well and they're growing revenues and they're growing earnings, it tends to persist for a while, right? Decades even. You get price trends from that. The same thing to the downside, right? When these companies fall on hard times and start doing things wrong, and revenue's not growing the way it should be or the way the street wants, and earnings are falling, that tends to persist for a while until they figure it out and turn things around. I'm not a fan of going and buying charts that look like this for that reason, right? Let them figure it out first. The stock will find a bottom, right? Turn around. And then we talked about this a few days ago. I don't need to buy the bottom, right? I don't need to be in for the first inning or even the second inning. Just a chunk in the middle, right? And price will sniff it out and you'll see a reversal and then you can get interested. For now, you're just trying to catch a falling knife in a company that's really been struggling for a long time now.
For the record, I agree that fundamentals move price. I agree. The price of assets is factoring in and discounting those fundamentals. I'm just in the camp that you don't necessarily need to know what those fundamentals are in order to recognize the trend. Right. Those who have come before us and done the homework are now acting upon that information that they have that we do not. That's good enough for me.
Don't you think it'd be easier to convince someone to not fall into a value trap or buy an ugly stock chart when you explain it that way, though, right? Like the stock chart falling and looking as ugly as it does is an indication that business has not been good here for a long time. So if you're buying a chart that looks like that, you're making a bet that that trend reverses and that all of a sudden business turns up. When a company's struggling, they tend to keep struggling. Sometimes they'll struggle all the way to zero. Right? So you're betting on a big change there. And it shows up in the trend.
That's hard. Getting back to the conversation we've had a few times this week about, things that don't change, right? It's much easier to be successful betting on things not changing versus looking for the next thing, the thing that's going to change next, right? I'm almost done with Housel's book. I'll be finished with it tonight, probably.
And
Yes.
you like,
That's awesome.
Isn't it like 100-page? Isn't that like a one sitting?
I don't know. It's a 5.5 hour audio book. So I don't know how many pages.
Okay. The truth reveals itself. Okay.
What truth?
No, nothing. I mean,
I'm an audiobook guy too. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's not. I'm not. But
by the end of the night, my eyes feel like they're bleeding. I don't want to stare at a page.
Yeah, no, I like to go. I've been doing this thing where we walk up the hill backwards. I've been doing that.
Can I get a video of this?
I mean, it's not that exciting. It's just walking up a hill backwards.
There's a chart analogy in there somewhere, but anyway.
That would be a good exercise.
I want to do. Talk about. I got something funny. What earnings? When is this going to be done? It's always earnings season.
Yeah, no. This is pretty much it. Like after this week, there's like some stragglers like Nvidia and Costco.
Yeah,
but this is it, JC. We're done.
Yeah. Somebody in the chat just said, "Are we all sitting around waiting for Nvidia's earnings?" No. Actually, no one's doing that at all, and no one should be. Should never sit around.
When is Nvidia's earnings?
Like next week or something?
Really?
Yeah, I'll tell you.
Nvidia is now a very special situation.
Tuesday. Yeah.
They're not giving you a read on what other companies are doing in AI. They're literally they're selling the gas to everybody at this point so that they can run their cars. You're not going to get a read, and I don't think you're going to see the kind of sympathy buying and selling from the NVIDIA report that we saw when the AI thing was erupting, right? One single company's earnings report is really just never that important. NVIDIA, Apple, or anybody. So,
okay. A couple more here. We'll run through them real fast. TJX. This is the company that had a very good report last time around. This time around, not so much. Their earnings were fine, but their forward-looking guidance came in light, below estimates. So the stock was at an all-time high. Will not be at an all-time high when it opens in 5 minutes. Down about 5% today. What else is on the list here? We had JD. Yeah,
this is another great American brand, TJ Maxx. I'm gonna make a custom index, just great American brands. The GAB.
Well, why do they have to be American? Who cares? What if TJ Maxx was, I don't know, Israeli?
What if it was Chinese?
Does it matter?
What if it was Chinese? Stock probably wouldn't look like this, right?
Yeah, because you just assume that they're liars. Leaders. But the Israelis are they're trustworthy. No,
I want the leaders. I want the best stock. They're going to be great American brands. We'll do things like TJ Maxx, Nike.
I think that's stupid.
You could pick some John Deere, right?
Dumb.
It'd be fun.
Dumb. Doesn't
because
matter.
we're a consumer economy. You know,
We live on
brands
Earth.
are important.
We
Brands
are
are really,
Earthlings. We're not just Americans. We're Earthlings. Like, why does it have to be a great American brand?
that's the index that I'm making.
I know,
Because
but for what?
it's fun. It's a home country bias is a thing. It's fun. It's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. Do we have to show JC the chart of American
You do
stocks
better
versus
work.
all
You
other
do-
stocks?
You do better work, Strazza.
Yeah, this is just for fun. Why
Yeah,
not?
you have fun in weird ways.
Okay.
It's not necessary. It's just not necessary. I don't know what
I
to
won't
tell
show
you.
it to you then. Fine.
Good old American brands. Like, what are you talking about?
Did you see my trash index?
Now you're talking. Tell me more about this trash index.
I look at these charts, whether it's Waste Management or some of these smaller.
Oh, like actual trash, not like shitty companies.
Yeah.
I was hoping like these are like the worst companies in the world. I'm kind of interested in that.
No, they're literally
no.
they're garbage companies.
Oh,
You don't like that either.
they're industrial stocks.
It's the trash trade.
Yeah.
Have
Okay,
you
so
heard
tell
of
me
it?
more. Is there how many trash companies are there outside of WM?
There's a good amount. At least 10.
Dude,
10
WM looks
sizable stocks.
Waste Management looks great.
The point being, we have to have fun sometimes. Sometimes you just got to make a fun custom index, you know, get out of your head a little bit.
I don't know, but I guess you and I have fun in different ways.
All right. We had a few more earnings, but they're not super interesting. We had JD, which is I think last I checked, it was trading higher this morning.
So JD
so
up nicely, but listen, a stock like JD, 7% on earnings. I want to see this thing like up 30%, right? We've seen Chinese stocks move in a big way before.
I was gonna say, isn't this another one of these Chinese scams?
No, it's scam.
there are degrees of scam. This is
Listen, Tencent also, I believe, just reported up 4%. Listen to this. So this is from the Tencent call. Let me find it. Sorry. Tencent says it has one of China's largest AI chip inventories. Man, if I was a Chinese company, I wouldn't be saying stuff like that publicly.
What is the least shitty Chinese company?
Tencent.
Is it?
No, it's the
There's
education.
got to be something better.
No, it's EDU. It's EDU. And
What?
if you want a big one, it's Pinduoduo.
Oh, the least shitty chart.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we were talking about just like business company.
It would be New Oriental, EDU. We've been long for a long time.
Yeah.
And
Those are the best ones. That's it, though?
PDD, Pinduoduo, honorable mention due to its size. It's the second largest one.
Pinduoduo. Didn't they change their name?
Yeah,
they're now PDD Holdings.
It's PDD. You know me. That's the full name.
Yeah, but
actually.
they're Irish though.
No, they're not.
No,
they're not Irish.
Not at all.
It was incorporated in 2015 and based in Dublin, Ireland.
The incorporated things.
So they're just doing that to save money on taxes or something.
There's all sorts of different reasons. This company is very Chinese. So Tencent and others, whether it's Baba, Tencent, the index.
Ireland.
What? It's not Ireland.
Baidu. Ireland.
Go read something, would you? It's a Chinese shopping platform.
$150 billion Irish company.
I can't. Anyway, JC, pull up some of these big Chinese charts. Zoom out like 2 years. You're going to draw some bases. You're going to draw some pretty big bases. I know they're not completed yet. They're nowhere near completing. But when you look at the action in stock markets around the world and from risk assets around the world, do you really want to make a bet? Some of these Chinese names are going to be plunging the lows and, breaking down an environment where everything else is starting to break out and holding its lows. These are big bases, and they're worth keeping on our radar because eventually they're going to be completed reversal patterns, and we're going to want to be super long. That day is coming for China.
You know, it's interesting that these bases got going in like the first quarter, early second quarter last year.
We were in Miami. I'll never forget it because we were talking about the Sigmas with Mr. Rob Koifman. We were talking about all the Sigmas, remember? Because these Chinese stocks were up like 40, 50% in a single day. Is that March? Was that March of 20?
They were like 9 Sigma days. So it was like it was like you have a higher likelihood of getting struck by lightning twice in the same place
Yeah.
than this stock, than these indexes doing what they were doing, right? If stock prices were random, evenly distributed. So to further reiterate, they are not evenly distributed. A trend.
The China iShares FXI was up over 20% that day, and I think I'll double check.
When was this? When was this?
It was March of
quarter last year.
2022. You could
March.
see it all over the chart. K-Web was up something silly too.
Yeah, I mean all of them, just huge face.
40%, yeah, 39.7%.
Wait, by the way, sorry to go back, but this is the garbage index. So.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
And it's equally weighted garbage.
Listen,
why can't you just buy waste management? Because this is one of your like fun hobbies. Is it one of those things?
Because waste management's not the best one.
It's not? Which one is?
Let me see.
Waste management's pretty good, man.
Hold on.
Here, Spencer, throw up
RSG, Republic Services. RSG. So that's RSG, Republic Services Group. And we, just to be fully transparent, we cherry picked the best ones for that index. That's why.
I mean, how many garbage companies are there? I didn't know there were so many.
More than I thought.
19 garbage companies? Wow.
The waste management subsector. 19.
Wow.
All right.
I didn't know.
Four of them have market caps below 10 million.
Shouldn't garbage companies be a staple? Like you always need to take your garbage out, whether we're in a recession or not. No?
Yes.
Yeah, I would think so. But tell S&P GICS that. They're an industrial. I don't know. It's a service. Dude, we talk too much about these stupid classifications.
It's just interesting. Like it should be a staple, no?
You know, how come you can't be in two sectors? How come you can't
You can, because you got the S&P indexes and then you have the New York Stock Exchange. Like the New York Stock Exchange Tech Index has those other tech stocks that are not in the S&P.
No. We need a new system. We need a new system that somehow you're allowed to be in more than one sector in the same classification.
You should be able to spread your market cap among the sectors, right? So for Uber, they could put like 60 billion of their market cap in software.
Isn't that what Philip Morris did? They split up the international versus,
I would be good at this. If anybody from S&P is listening, reach out.
Okay.
Can we do a little hot corner, because you got $5 million on this biotech.
Yeah.
We can do hot corner. I have other filing things to discuss, but yes, let's do hot corner, and we can kind of do it all in one shot.
I'm excited to talk.
Hot corner. So hot right now.
So we talk about it all the time. These insiders just love their biotechs.
Man, seriously, $5 million. Chart looks not bad. It's a little under $1 billion, so it's kind of small, but they're all kind of small.
So this is
big base, man. 5-year base.
And listen, it's not the biggest hedge fund. I think they're around like 2 billion assets under management. It's one of those biotech funds, right? They just specialize in like early stage life science companies. I think you buy the upper bounds. What, 15, JC? This one looks better than most stocks that we see come onto our list on a day-to-day basis. So I like this one a lot. I think, $5 million, not nothing. That's DeChain Capital Management. This one, I mean, if it breaks out, boy, a lot of room to run back to those old all-time highs. And also just honorable mentions, because we had a couple institutions with the big buys, but then we got to talk about this executive action. So the CFO, 340,000, that's Custom Truck One Source, a rental and leasing service company. Never heard of them, but 1.2 billion, so big enough. And then Pebblebrook Hotels. What do these guys own? Do we know? What kind of crap motels are these? Pebblebrook Hotel Trust.
PEB.
Yeah, so 1.4 billion.
1.5 billion. Bethesda, Maryland.
No. This is not
REIT.
wow. They've got some prime property. These
They
guys.
own 47 hotels and resorts.
Yeah. These guys have some doozies. They got a Hotel Monaco in DC. They got Chaminade Resort and Spa in Santa Cruz, California.
Fancy stuff.
The Hilton in the Gaslamp Quarter in San Diego.
That's a good time.
They got some stuff here. Hotel on Fisherman's Wharf.
Don't go there.
Yeah, don't go there. Okay. It looks like it's the vast majority is California with some East Coast stuff sprinkled in, but in Florida.
Can you throw up new slide 2? I find it really, really interesting where biotechs are. I mean, we're seeing a lot of insider buying in biotechs, but there's also just a lot of biotechs. But look at the equally weighted biotechnology index. This is equally weighted. So this is not the IBB that's got a lot of the big boys. Spencer, this is the equally weighted XBI. And look where it's catching a bid. Do you think that's a coincidence, Strazza?
JC, you talked about this theme yesterday, these massive tops that refuse to break down. This is that. This is exactly that.
Totally.
Right back, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They already had a huge move, dude. This thing went. Sorry, Spencer. This thing went from 175 to 60.
Yeah.
You know. I think you buy them. You buy them right here.
Biotech is such a to me that really is its own.
I think you buy equally weighted biotechs right here. You make 100% return. I think you sell it at 120, looking for a double. Shawnee, baby. Shawnee, can we sell some naked puts against these things? Maybe sell some 65s, buy some 90s.
We'll talk about it on the. We'll talk about it on the call. Say no more. We'll talk about it on the call later. Okay.
Sell those puts naked all day.
I had some other filing stuff I wanted to discuss very briefly. Which slide was that on? It was on 18. All right. Sirius XM, not a stock we discuss very often, for a good reason, but it is near the top or at the top of my scans here this morning because a guy you may have heard of, his name was Warren Buffett, decided to buy some shares last quarter.
Warren Buffett is buying Sirius Satellite Radio. Didn't see that one coming. Who had that on the bingo card?
So literally no one. So 13F season, 13F deadline yesterday, 45 days from the end of the quarter. Buffett's the only one that I really care about. Same, most people only care about Buffett's. They added Sirius XM last quarter. They added like Liberty Media or like Liberty Live Group. It's got 5 letters, not very liquid at all. So not so interested in that. They did exit entirely their Activision stake, which is obviously they got bought, so no surprise there. They exited their GM stake. No more GM for Berkshire Hathaway. They lightened up a little bit in Chevron and HPQ, but Sirius XM was sort of the big surprise. They bought about 9.5 million shares.
I have a sneaking suspicion
that
Warren Buffett's a huge Howard Stern fan.
I'll take it.
No freaking way.
Eating his McMuffin, listening to Howard Stern and Baba Booey in the mornings.
Zero chance. Zero chance. Uncle Warren's watching the morning show, man.
No. Yeah. Anyway, this is a you're talking about a stock with I'm not sure how you would call it, like unique risk, like a unique risk profile. If they ever lose Howard, the stock is a $1 stock, right? I mean, this is that's a unique risk to them. It's bad.
This is like one of those enterprise software companies where one contract makes up like 40%.
Yes. This is just like that.
And then there's an earnings call one day, and they're like, "Oh, we lost that Uber contract," and the stock plunges, gets cut in half. If they were ever like, "Yeah, Howard's out," also they paid him an inordinate amount of money that pretty much made it impossible for them to have a good business. What, for 10 years now? Wasn't that like the worst deal ever?
At least, I don't know. They're keeping themselves afloat with him. So, JC asked who listens to radio. Not many people who listens to Sirius. If you listen to Sirius for not Howard reasons, you are in the extreme minority.
I'll tell you who listens to Sirius. You know who listens to Sirius? People who just
No.
bought a new car. They listen to
That's
Sirius
exactly right. That's
for a
exactly
month or
right.
two, and then they never listen to it again. That's who listens to Sirius. They called me when my thing was expiring, and you can get them down to like nothing.
Yeah.
This reminds me of the old like magazine companies. Like I remember a conversation with ESPN magazine once where they're like, just give us $1. We'll keep sending you copies. That was serious. They're like, they tried to pitch me like the full plan. They're like, well, what? How about this one? And then it's like, well, what can you afford? Sorry, guys, but never a good sign, right?
Hold on. Kevin says you guys are fast, tough to keep up. The volume on XBI is only around volatility 30%. Volatility is 30%. Too low to trade to the short side. Some of that question.
I want to short puts, Kevin. I want to make it rain puts. Where's Sean? Sean, give it to me.
What?
Yeah.
Somebody said, why sell GM? I think the better question is, why buy GM?
If GM and Ford get back above those lows, the squeeze is on. That's why.
Technically, fine. For a trade off those.
And by the way, Harley Davidson, same thing. Like those three names, if they get back above those former lows, forget about it.
All right, let's do something fun. 10 years from now, are GM and Ford still around? And
of course,
have they been bailed out again, or have they been bailed out?
No, they're done. Zeros.
No. Of course, they're still around. It takes a very long time.
They're gone.
You got to feel bad for these companies in a way, right? Because the government gives them no chance. And of course, a lot of people hate them for that reason. We bail them out and we save them. And then we cripple their businesses with these labor unions and make it so they really have no chance of surviving or competing with a company like Tesla, who's not unionized. And then when they fail, we make them feel terrible and we bail them out like they're like systemically important or something.
Clearly, electric car demand is not what we thought it would be, and who is not making electric cars? Ford and GM and Toyota too.
No,
and
they're trying, and this is going to be what kills them. I'm going to tell you what's going to finally kill these companies: investing billions of dollars in EVs and not being able to compete with Tesla. Still, they're going to waste all their money trying to get into EVs, and if they can't produce and sell them at scale, it's not a profitable business for them. It's a money loser, right? So unless you see a ton of Ford and GM EVs out on the road soon, I don't know what the future looks like for both of these guys. I don't
know. See. Speaking of, and then last thing, and then we'll bring Mary on here, but Berkshire did trim their Chevron stake by 10% last quarter.
They didn't trim Oxy.
They did not trim Oxy, correct. They did not trim Oxy. They trimmed Chevron.
What would you rather own, JC, Chevron or Oxy? You can only pick one.
Oxy.
Because you want that juice. It's going to give you a wee bit more.
Yeah. Yep.
For me, it's
bring in Mary.
Yeah.
Is she ready? Bring her in. I want to hear what she's doing.
Yeah, she's ready. She's here.
Yeah, bring her in.
I mean, I assume so. Yeah, she's ready. All right.
Mary.
Hey, good morning, guys. How are you?
What is up? So, Mary is an all-star charts consumer like no other. The top consumer of all-star charts, trade ideas, and content in the world. I think we could say that. I mean,
that's the nice way of saying junkie, right?
Total junkie, right? Mad respect, though. Mad respect. So,
hold on. You know how I know you're a junkie, Mary? Because all the positions you tell me you're trading, they don't come from young aristocrats. They don't come from the Hall of Famers. They come from under the hood, minor leaguers.
Yeah.
You know what you do.
Yeah. I'm looking for the juice. Yeah.
So what stands out, right? So we've been talking about a lot of things, a lot of great trade ideas last week and the week before that from the call have been working in our favor, obviously. what stands out to you this week? Anything from yesterday that popped off? Like, where's your head at as somebody who consumes all of our content?
Yeah, so I put a couple of trade ideas on from our Under the Hood report. Steve, do you want to kind of give the people what Under the Hood is about?
Yeah. So under the hood, we have a secret script that we run that basically returns us a universe of stocks that are seeing unusual investor interest.
What
Measure
inspired it? Talk about give them some background. What inspired that?
this was actually inspired by the Robinhood API. That was a big buzz on the street about this.
Robin
Back
Tracks.
Back in the pandemic retail trading boom. It was called robintrack.net. And they were basically just publishing on a real-time basis what people were buying on their app. Right. So they stripped that data away and we said, you know what? We can measure this even better and get to the same answer.
Yeah,
right?
because we had the data and then Robinhood pulled the plug
Yep.
right on them. So it was gone.
Yeah.
And then we're like, well, we'll just build it and we'll do it even better.
Because what it was giving us were names that were experiencing high level of buzz, right, or emotional trading that were being talked about that week. There's a million different ways to measure that. In fact, I will die on this hill that the best way is just volume. The best way is probably the simplest way. So we created a script that kind of aggregates this data on our own, and it just returns us a beautiful list each week. This week, I think, Mary, you found 2 that you liked in it. We'll go right now if you want to.
All right. Yeah. So we can start with Duolingo, you think?
Duolingo, Spencer.
I know the chart's there. We'll just wait for it to come up.
Not
But
Chinese. Right?
You can learn Chinese on Duolingo.
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Who knew?
Huh. I did not know that. But anyway, well, I'll just start talking about it. So what was interesting about this one for me, I actually got involved in this one Thursday was earnings. And so what I did, thank you, Brian Shannon, I anchored a VWAP to that earnings gap. And then I took a position on Friday just because it was holding that anchored VWAP from the earnings gap up. And so far it's been good. So I jumped this one a little bit early. But I got anytime it's, the 205 level, 200, nice even number, I'm in.
So you're talking about a VWAP dropped from November 9th.
Was that last Thursday? That was the gap up, right? That was earnings?
Yeah. So that'll be your stop?
Yep. A daily close below.
Yep.
That's what I'm thinking. But I mean, but now we've got, we're in that range now of 205 to 295. And 200 is the good psychological support too. So, there's a whole lot going on right there in that area that has me interested.
Listen, it's a great chart. This one has been as popular as any on our hot corner list. Also, insiders were gobbling this one up as it was basing last year, earlier this year. I mean, what a trade they've already made. Now you're getting this monster breakout to new all-time highs.
Right.
With the relative strength confirmation that we talk about so often on here. Love to see that, right? So breakout on absolute terms, but also a breakout from very similar looking pattern relative to the broader market that is suggesting to us that this stock is slated to continue to outperform over longer time frames. Not much more that you could ask for in a long. Love it.
Yeah, but you want to know something? I want to talk about that market cap.
What
is it? What is it?
8.9 billion.
That's like a really, in this environment, I'm focused in that world, that 8, 10, 15, 18, 20, like that is a really, really interesting universe of mid caps, the Jan Brady's of the world, forgotten about. It's not just large caps or small caps. There's mid caps and mid cap. Mid caps are never the worst performer, right? It's never. So if rule number 1 is don't lose money, then mid caps are historically a great way to not lose money. When you look at mid caps on the New York Stock Exchange, because I do that sort of thing, 550 mid cap stocks in the New York Stock Exchange are up double digits this year. 550. What 7 stocks? 550 stocks that are mid caps on the New York Stock Exchange are up double digits this year?
Like,
what am I
on a
missing?
year-to-date basis, about half of the mid caps in the S&P 400 are positive on the year. The other half are negative. So it's pretty mixed.
Half the stocks on the New York Stock Exchange are above their 200-day moving average.
Interesting. You know, what you're really speaking to by saying you like mid caps is that market cap is a hell of a quality filter. In other words, if you can graduate from small cap land, where most stocks are stuck forever until they go away, you can graduate from small cap land to mid cap land. It means maybe you're on your way to being a large cap. That's a quality filter, right? You can't sustain, a growing market cap unless you're doing something right. So by simply looking at the mids instead of the smalls, you have a basket of better stocks. Could that be why they rarely underperform small caps, JC?
I'm not sure. This is an Ed Clissold question.
I like the way he ranks his size baskets.
Yeah, we'll get Clissold back. He's over at Ned Davis. He does really good work. I got a mid cap chart here for you, Strazza.
Well, Palantir. We want to talk about another mid cap that Mary's been YOLOing.
Hold on. Throw in
I don't know about YOLOing, but
throw up slide 2, Spencer, before Mary goes on to the next mid cap, just to put some things in perspective. So this is the S&P Mid Cap 400 MDY. Looks similar to industrials, doesn't it, Strazza?
This is like watching paint dry.
Fine, but two-year base within an ongoing uptrend in the middle of a bull market in a time that money rotates into smaller cap names on a relative basis. I think that these market caps down here particularly those that have already been working. Like I said, 550 mid-cap stocks on the New York Stock Exchange are up double digits this year. 550. And this is out of, let's see how many mid-cap stocks are on the New York. About 1,900. Wow, it's a lot more mid-cap stocks than I thought.
While we're talking about the size factor.
Oh, no, that's wrong. That's wrong. Sorry. That's wrong.
Hey, I got one.
Sorry. 668.
Talking about different size indexes. Don't look now, but the Russell Microcap Index ripping again today, back above that key $100 level, reclaiming its old range lows that we were looking at as leading evidence that maybe small caps might break down. No, now you're getting confirmation back in the opposite directions with micro caps making a big reclaim here, repairing that technical damage from last month. And this would jive an environment where small caps are running back now to the upper bounds of their range. And maybe even mid caps are figuring out that mess of a chart as well and running back to their pivot highs.
Yeah, man, the squeeze is on for sure. Got a little recess, Spencer, if you want to hit that bumper.
So we're just not going to talk about Palantir, I guess.
Wait, yeah. What about?
Sorry. I'm ready to actually go buy Palantir.
So this is a Strazza stock, Mary. So glad you're involved. Why don't you tell me what you like here?
Yeah, well, what's not to like, right? You've got a nice basing process there, and we're pushing up against that 20 again. I jumped this early. I think beginning of the week. Again, I just did the exact same thing. We had earnings, and there was a gap up. I anchored a VWAP right there, and then I got in as it was holding it. And so now I'm long and hoping that we can push through this 20. If we stall out, I may just kind of take some profit and wait for another day when we really push through with some volume.
I'm in it with you, Mary. I'm in
nice.
it. I like the 19 level, actually. I think 19 is an interesting, let it dance. But I like that 19 level.
This is one that I own, but I'm going to trade it with you guys. This one, fun fact, is on a list that we're making internally to potentially write about, and maybe something new that we'll be writing, JC.
Maybe.
On that list.
All I know is I bought this thing at 17, and then I sold it 2 weeks later at 17. And
Spencer.
Oh, Spencer.
God.
Maybe
No,
you should
all
take
right.
some notes from Mary and read some of the research we're putting out, huh?
This is another exciting growth story, right? That I would group with the DraftKings and the Uber.
You know what else I like about this
Yeah.
one is all the conspiracy theories. I love that.
Yeah, these guys have been focused on AI and talking about AI in their, investor communications for forever now. Long before AI was a hot buzzword, these guys have been talking about how good they are at using AI. So this is one of the industry leaders in that space. They're built for AI. That's been their focus.
But then you have that inherent like squeeze factor because people are it makes people upset, right? Like, so you have like that on top. Yeah, I love that.
There's an element of mystery with this company that ushers in a really healthy short interest almost all the time. And that's why the chart looks the way it does. I mean, it's squeezy. And I like that. Yeah, a lot of people betting against this one, JC.
It's a very retail owned stock. So all right, let's do recess.
Well, yes and no, because I remember a time when this stock was actually largest shareholder was Stephen Cohen of SAC Capital. So maybe it's got a lot of retail investors in it now, but back in the day before it came public, heavy institutional ownership in this thing. Big support by some of the biggest, smartest hedge fund managers in the world.
All right, recess time.
So JC did a great job on Fox yesterday, but sir, did I hear this correctly? You were just screaming out price targets for the major averages. I think you got a little overexcited towards the end of this segment. You just
What did I say?
And you said Dow 50,000. But wait, by the time the Dolphins are celebrating the Super Bowl, do you know when the Super Bowl is?
I didn't say Dow 50,000 by the time. I said new all-time highs by the time the Dolphins are celebrating the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Check the tape.
Okay. I don't
Check
know.
the tape.
I don't know.
I don't think the Dow goes to 50,000 by February, so I wouldn't have said that.
Okay. I didn't think
that would be really hard.
All right. I was listening to it in bed this morning. I thought I.
Is that what you do?
Something.
You watch my videos in bed?
I'm just so proud of you. Yeah. I was having my own little like JC watch party.
So Austin, who's the producer there for Liz's show, he's like, JC, all alone today? Because last time we were there, remember, Mary? You were there and Shaffers. It was like a party. We had like a whole entourage.
He usually brings a posse with him when he does media. It's always been that way. I've met you in the city more than a couple times to go and follow you to a Fox hit or Bloomberg.
Fun. Good people there. So I met with Pearl Dog yesterday, and I had a giant bowl of rice and orange chicken, and he's like talking to me, and I'm like drinking my old fashioned, eating my rice, and he was just so disgusted.
Hates you. Yeah.
He's like, look at you.
I can't take it. I can't take his judgment. It's too much for me.
He's just telling me about his push-ups.
It's too much for me.
It's good. He's hardcore, man.
It's too much for me.
Yeah.
All right. My recess. I might be stealing Mary's thunder here, but every single Wednesday we do an analyst meeting. It is open. Oh, what the heck was that? Is that someone's alarm?
That was one of my alerts going off on something.
Okay.
Something's moving.
Buy something.
Yeah, something's moving.
Sounds here.
Is that what it is?
Something just got
I don't know.
No, every Wednesday we do this meeting. It is open to a select number of people. The only way to get into this meeting, again, that we do every Wednesday, in an hour from now, 11 o'clock, is to just call Mary. That's my best advice. The number is on the screen there, 323-421-7910. Call her. This is only open to members of what we call our Portfolio Accelerator program. They get access to this call. It's where we sort of come up with all of our ideas for the week and talk about the ideas behind the ideas.
And we're going to talk about that biotech risk reversal that I want to put on.
Right, exactly. So this is what the magic happens.
John's going to tell me don't sell the puts, just buy the calls. That's what he's going to tell me. Watch.
This meeting is where the magic happens. It happens every Wednesday at 11 o'clock. If you want to get in, call Mary at the number on the screen.
Call Mary.
Call me.
She's great. If she's not busy YOLOing Palantir, you might answer the call.
I do YOLO some things. So my recess today, we are headed to Disney next week. So we've been in the process of getting all of the Christmas up. So Christmas is up when we come back. I'm one of those people. So yes, I've been putting up Christmas, and I've also been listening to the radio because of Christmas. You guys were dissing on radio earlier. But one thing that we just found, I came home yesterday and my son found this contraption. Maybe I'm really late to the party on this, but you can plug all of your lights into some sort of like receiver all around the house, all these different receivers. And then you have a remote control that just turns them on, and you can hit one and then like all of your lights go on, and you don't have to go around the house and plug the tree in and those lights in and those lights. It was like life changing to me. I'm not going to lie. So that's my reason.
That's very fancy.
Disney for Thanksgiving is a ballsy move.
Yeah.
It's aggressive. We're going a couple weeks from now. So
yeah,
I want to talk about Disney too. As an insider filing guy here, I kind of feel like I should talk about this 13F season. What stood out most to me, at least what stands out so far, Value Act just keeps building a bigger and bigger stake in Disney. With the way the stock's been performing, they're going to get on the board and start pushing for something. Spencer, you might finally get that spinoff you've been talking about for so long.
Yeah.
Dude, Disney's up 20% in 2 weeks.
All right. Some of you will see in an hour the analyst meeting. The rest of you guys will see you at What the Fick at 12:30. Catch you guys there. Go make some money. That's what I got.
All right, guys. Adios. YOLO responsibly.
Hey.
Bye, guys.
Peace.
Run it. I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs.